name's Chris Baker with Baker DMM. This is our Video Digest newsletter. The topic of today's newsletter is going to be, is the world really falling apart? And before I jump into our discussion, I want to read you some statistics. And they state that I looked at homicide, looked at war, looked at genocide, looked at terrorism. And in all cases, the long-term historical trend, though there are ups and downs and wiggles and spikes, is absolutely downward. The rate of violent crime in the United States has fallen by more than half in just a decade. The rate of death in war fell by a factor of 100 over a span of 25 years. And that was from an NPR National Public Radio interview titled "World Becoming Less Violent." And the person being interviewed was Steve Pinker. And that was an excerpt, I believe, from his book called "The Better Angels of Our Nature." And I wanted to bring this topic up because it's a kind of a far out subject in the fact that it's talking about world events and violence and things that might not necessarily normally be related to financial matters. But in this case, I really do think they're related, because no matter where we are in the world and no matter where we're getting our news, whether it's the TV, whether it's somewhere on the internet, social media, through our family, our friends, and a million other ways that we can get information and news, depending on how much news you watch or view or read or listen to, majority of the time you're getting negative information. You're always getting things that are going wrong, things that cause headlines, things that are sudden and dramatic and catastrophes and things that are, typically, unfortunately, bad things that are happening to people. And on a day in and day out basis, when you're reading this kind of information and you're watching it on the news and you're seeing it in social media, it just really can wreak havoc in our wellness, in our mindfulness, in our presence, and, just in our day-to-day lives. I mean, that's not positive information and news, and it's not very uplifting. And if anything, it can make people overthink and overanalyze and just be depressed and miserable and just think, as the title of the video states, that things, the world's ending and that, that it's just the worst time ever to be alive and just everything is going to hell and, what are we going to do? And the reason why that's so important to be aware of this is that because that can affect your decision making in many different areas of your life, and particularly your financial matters. So if you're running around all day seeing news, hearing news, having people tell you things that are going wrong, that could, indirectly affect your financial decision making and whether or not you make good financial decisions. This all plays into your day-to-day life. And what I would like to communicate in the video is that be careful what you're viewing and use judgment and try to use a little bit of common sense and do your own research, do your own studying, do your own investigating when you have the time and when you have the ability and availability to do that, because you start digging into different places and like this example from the NPR with Steve Pinker. He's a Harvard professor, a very intelligent person. Obviously, they've done a lot of research in this area, and they're coming right out and saying that, look, we live in one of the, if not the most safest time in the history, at least of record keeping. There's really according to this gentleman, there's never been a safer time on the face of the earth. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't bad things that happen. That doesn't mean that there's not war and there's atrocities and terrible things that happen to wonderful people all over the world. I'm not saying that, that you can't deny that and it's not happening. But overall, in a general sense, for the majority of the world, on a day in, day out basis, moment by moment, we live in a place that's getting more and more peaceful. Lots of different violent crimes are going down, instances and rates of war are going down. Overall, things are getting better. So with that said, hopefully, for those that are watching and listening and learning, you take a different approach. You practice on your internal peace, your inner peace, practice living in the moment, practice your mindfulness, being connected, being engaged in all the different areas of your life, and ultimately being engaged, being connected, and thinking through things and living consciously, not just robotically going through the motions, just letting your subconscious direct and control everything, but consciously going through things, thinking, getting involved, being aware of your surroundings, and then hopefully a lot of times not thinking and just being present in the moment. This is going to allow you to operate from a centered, focused state and help you make decisions that are informed and controlled, and you think through things, and you're not making decisions out of fear or anxiety or because you're depressed or you think the world's going to end or you're uncertain about things, right? So then that could potentially lead you to make poor decisions in many areas of your life, particularly finances. So with that said, just keep your eyes and your ears, your mind, your spirit, your soul open, and just remember all this so you can stay centered and balanced and ultimately, make better financial decisions. So be alert, be aware, get your news and information from many different sources, and just don't take, everything that you see in social media, the news, the TV, the internet. Don't let these headlines and these news about violence and the world falling apart manipulate you and kind of fear mongering you into being divided into just being depressed and thinking it's all going to end, because it's not. We're here, we're going to keep moving, and we're going to keep one day at a time try to leave the world in a better place than when we got here, and ultimately that'll help you lead a more financially rewarding life as well. So if you found this video interesting or helpful, please feel free to share it with your family, your friends, or whoever you think might benefit from viewing the information. If you ever have a question you'd like for me to answer in one of our newsletters, go to our website, www.bakerdmm.com. Scroll to the bottom, fill out your information, write a few sentences, and we'll try to answer your question in one of our upcoming newsletters. And if you ever like to get my help directly and personally, you can go to our website. At the top of the page, we have our phone number, as well as a request an appointment button. And if you'd like to book a phone consulting session, scroll to the bottom and click on the PayPal button. And with any of these options, I'll be in touch with you in 24 to 48 hours to confirm and schedule our appointment. And until then, I will talk to you all soon.